Assalamu alaikum. This is Samra Muslim with PakVoter, and we are here at a very, very prestigious place in Karachi, which is the office of one of the most respectable publications in the country, the Newsline office. And today with us is Rehana Hakim, the editor of Newsline, who is going to be talking with me and you especially about the whole electoral process for the elections that are happening on May 11th. Assalamu alaikum, Rehana Aunty.
Assalamualaikum.
So Rehana Aunty, the biggest question and the first question that comes in our mind, given your experience and history, knowledge of the entire Pakistan's political and electoral process, is how, and we keep on reading about in the media as well, that, the polling stations have increased and they're the ECP has gone ahead and made so many changes in the election processes. To your mind and with your understanding, आपको क्या लगता है कितना change आया है? How has it really changed?
See, for starters, I think you have a relatively independent election commission, okay, which is headed by a very prestigious and a very renowned person, PakVoter Ibrahim.
Yeah.
And his integrity is above doubt. So I think that's very positive. And I think political parties, etc., are also on board. So that's very important.
Okay.
To begin with. Huh?
Okay.
And then this election commission, I think, they have done some wonderful things, which I think sort of gives this whole election process a credible feeling, right?
Okay.
First of all, I think the division of the electoral list, that's been very, very important, because there are a lot of people, a lot of ghosts have been on that list, and I think they managed to remove a lot of dead people from that list, etc. Also, they have carried on the sustained campaign to get new voters to register.
Yeah.
And this includes the youth. And that's very, very important. But because they're very critical for this thing, for the changes that we are seeking in this country. So I think that's very important, I think.
So
also the number of polling booths have been increased. There's, I think 20,000 more polling booths have been added.
Yes.
So there are about 80,000 polling booths, and there are about a lot of new registered voters, as I said.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot more registration that we've been hearing about, and you're right. I believe there was just one district in interior Sindh where they found out around 350,000 ghost voters that have been removed. So that, I think you're right, is going to totally change they might even change the dynamics of how the results might turn out.
Not only that, I think they've gone from door to door to check on this, because they've come to my house, they've come to a lot of other places to check the list of voters, and I think that's very important if you want a fair election.
So do you think this is, having said that, all these changes have been made and all this improvement has happened in the electoral process, and the ECP is really doing its job well, what other areas do you feel, or what more could have happened to maybe further improve this process?
Well, see, having said all of this, the important thing is to get, you may have the polling stations, you may have the registered voters, but the point is, are they going to come and vote in the elections?
Okay.
I think that is critical, because I think in the past, I think Pakistan stands 164th in terms of voter turnout, 164th out of 169 countries, as far as voter turnout is concerned. I think in the last election, it was about 44.5% or something.
Okay.
In India, it's about 58, 59, and Bangladesh, I think, is 1 or 2% below that.
Okay.
So I think, in terms of voter turnout, I think we lag behind, and I think that's very important. But the point what is causing a lot of concern is the security situation.
Exactly, that's exactly what I was going to come to. See, the biggest problem, and voter turnout is a major issue, more in the urban centers than the rural sectors, because we're as individuals very concerned about security.
Sure.
And one of the things that I would point out is, and you also just mentioned, is something that's completely missing in this whole picture.
Yeah. You see, for instance, in 3 provinces out of 4, people are not being able to campaign.
Yeah.
I think KP is like a, what should I say, sitting on a time bomb, basically.
Yeah.
Baluchistan mein, there's an insurgency in Sindh, and especially in Karachi, you might have noticed, 7 to 8 people are being killed every day.
Exactly.
Plus, there is the threat of the Tehreek-e-Taliban, who have said that they do not believe in democracy, they do not believe in elections, and they will target all the secular parties. So immediately, 3 parties sort of out of this whole electoral campaign.
Yeah.
They are turning to you and radio and posters and all of that. But I still feel it's if you want to have a totally free and fair election, then you must have you must ensure that security And if you have that security, then only you will have people turning up to vote at the electoral votes. They're saying that they'll get the army in, they'll get army officers inside, they'll have army officers accompanying the ballot boxes and all of that.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is in terms of campaigning,
Yeah.
at this point there are 3 parties out of the race in terms of campaigning.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think all of us are keeping our fingers crossed that, like the security situation does not get...
Yeah, because everyone we talk to, especially in our circles, has had this issue, okay, will we be safe to go out and vote? Like, so that security element, having said and done, is the key to the voter turnout. So,
exactly.
And
coming to the other aspect of, when you were talking about the electoral process, the selection criteria,
yeah,
I think some good things have been done. Like, for instance, there is a whole lot of columns added for, for the candidates, like tax returns,
yeah,
whether they've defaulted on loans,
yeah,
whether they are dual nationals,
yeah,
and this sort of thing. All of those things are in place.
Yeah.
But I believe a lot of people have managed to get past the election commission despite being loan defaulters, despite not having a national tax number, etc.
Yeah.
So I think these are things which need to be
further checked and balanced for the future.
Yeah, I think for the future. I think this is the first time. I think there have been difficulties in terms of getting the information, etc.
And
also there have been sort of there's been a lot of there was this thing that people have talked about, this Article 62 and 63 of the Constitution, which talk about a candidate being a good this thing, and it's left to the returning officer's discretion to decide whether a person is a good person or a bad person. As you might have heard the kind of questions that they were asked, asking to recite the kalma or the dua kunut, or whether they were married to 3. I feel all these things I think need to be...
They were left to relative,
relative, and they were sort of, you left it to the returning officers to decide. So the other thing which I feel that you should, for future elections, is the percentage of women turning out to vote.
Yeah.
I think the election commission at one point had said that if in any constituency there is a less than 10% turnout of women, they will sort of cancel the thing. But I think the parliament refused to pass that because they said in any case women do not that many women turn up to this thing. And in certain cases, I think in the past, there have been in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, all parties, they have this understanding that they will not take their women out to vote.
Okay.
So this kind of thing should not be allowed to happen. I think if women constitute 48% of your
population,
your population, then sort of you're disenfranchising a whole this thing.
Also, one of the things I wanted to ask you was, for overseas Pakistanis in the electoral process, they have finally come up with a system. But there's also people living in Pakistan, like maybe people like myself or friends of mine who registered to vote, say, in another city. Now, if I want to vote, I'm not, but I'm just putting a hypothetical situation. Shouldn't people like myself who are registered in another city not be required to actually travel to that polling booth and give a physical vote, but we should have some sort of a flexibility?
I think there should be. For instance, like Pune, he's very active, and he can't vote because he's here unless he goes to his constituency,
which is not in the same town.
I feel that's not fair.
Which is again, and you're losing your votes.
Yeah, you're losing your votes. I feel that's because a lot of people. For instance, Karachi, the city of dreams. You have people from all over the country.
Yeah.
So all those people will not be voting unless they go back to the respective this thing.
Which is not a very cost-effective methodology to vote.
Poor people. A lot of people who are not so well off who can travel back and forth and all. They have jobs in Karachi. So I feel that. Once again, you're disenfranchising whole this thing.
Yeah. But thank you so much. So, but I hope you're going to be voting this.
I've always voted in all the elections, and I keep sort of encouraging. I feel that if you're a citizen of Pakistan, you have a stake in this country. You want to change the status quo. You want to see good people who do not behave like lords, but who want to represent
what we are all about.
Yeah, we are all about, and to change things in this country. I know over the last 2 years, I've or more, I've been hearing people grumble and complain about the lawlessness in this country, the terrorism, and the economy and the power shortages, etc. All this. So if you want to see good people who will sort out all these problems, then I think you need to go out and vote, because you don't want a bloody revolution like in some of the Arab countries and all. If you can have a peaceful transfer
Why not go for
Why
it?
not go for it? And look at us, we've been sort of for 30 years, we've lived under dictators and
Exactly. I think it's high time we go and pass.
sort of, like we have a chance.
Totally.
Take the chance, and if you want change, then you have to go out there and vote.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rehana Aunty, and Pakistan Zindabad.